Good evening, I'm Alex Truth.
And I'm Maya Clarity. Welcome to Truth Report. Tonight, we're following the money through two stories that reveal how corruption flows from the highest offices of American government down to industrial-scale slavery operations half a world away. Both involve cryptocurrency. Both involve people in power exploiting legal gray zones. And both show how financial fraud has become the infrastructure of our modern economy.
We're going to start at the Department of Justice, where the number 2 official in the country was allegedly making policy decisions that directly enriched his personal crypto portfolio. Then we'll take you inside the forced labor camps of Myanmar, where trafficked workers are chained to desks, beaten, and forced to steal billions from victims worldwide through fake investment schemes. Many of those scams? Cryptocurrency fraud.
This isn't coincidence. When enforcement disappears at the top, crime flourishes at the bottom. Let's begin with what's happening right now in Washington.
According to ProPublica's reporting published this week, Todd Blanche, the current Deputy Attorney General of the United States, owned at least $159,000 in cryptocurrency and crypto-related stock when he issued a memo on April 7 that effectively ended the Department of Justice's crackdown on crypto companies.
Let's be clear about what that memo did. It was titled Ending Regulation by Prosecution, and it dissolved the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team, a specialized unit created specifically to investigate fraud in the digital asset space. This wasn't a policy tweak. This was dismantling the enforcement infrastructure.
And Todd Blanche held Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, Cardano, and Coinbase stock while he wrote it. The Campaign Legal Center, a nonpartisan watchdog group, filed a formal complaint alleging Blanche blatantly and improperly influenced DOJ's digital asset prosecution guidelines while standing to financially benefit. Those are not words ethics lawyers use lightly.
Here's the timeline that makes this so damning. Blanche was confirmed by the Senate on March 5. As part of his ethics agreement, he promised to divest his crypto holdings within 90 days. That deadline would have been early June. But on April 7, just 33 days after confirmation and well before divestment, he issued the memo that helped his portfolio.
And it worked. Bitcoin alone rose 34% between when he issued that memo and when he finally divested in late May or early June. We're talking about a price jump from around $79,000 to over $105,000. Blanche's personal holdings increased in value by tens of thousands of dollars because of a policy decision he made.
Now, he eventually did divest, but here's where it gets even more problematic. He didn't sell everything. According to ProPublica, he transferred crypto worth between $116,000 and $315,000 to his adult children and a grandchild. He only sold holdings worth $5,000 to $75,000.
Federal conflict of interest law is explicit on this point. It prohibits government officials from participating in matters that directly benefit themselves or their immediate family. Kedrick Payne, the General Counsel at Campaign Legal Center and former Deputy General Counsel at the Office of Congressional Ethics, told ProPublica this was a clear violation.
The penalties are serious. If found guilty, Blanche could face up to 1 year imprisonment and a $50,000 fine. If prosecutors prove he acted willfully, that jumps to 5 years in prison. We're talking about criminal statutes here, not just ethics violations.
The DOJ's response. And I quote, Deputy Attorney Blanche upholds the highest levels of transparency and ethical standards. As such, this was appropriately flagged, addressed, and cleared in advance. They claim this was cleared. But cleared by whom? Blanche oversees the very department that would investigate him.
This is the same Todd Blanche who served as Trump's lead criminal defense attorney during the Manhattan trial. He went from defending the president in criminal court to becoming the second most powerful person at the Justice Department. And now he's accused of using that position to enrich himself.
Let's talk about what this memo actually accomplished. By dissolving the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team, Blanche removed the specialized investigators who understood how crypto fraud works. These weren't beat cops. These were experts who could trace blockchain transactions, identify wash trading, and unravel complex token manipulation schemes.
And that enforcement infrastructure didn't exist by accident. It was built because cryptocurrency has become the primary vehicle for financial fraud in the 21st century. The FBI estimates Americans lost over $10 billion to crypto scams in 2024 alone. That's billion with a B.
So when the Deputy Attorney General owns crypto and then dismantles crypto enforcement, who benefits? Not the victims. Not the American public. The beneficiaries are the crypto companies that no longer face scrutiny, the scammers who operate with less fear of prosecution, and yes, officials like Blanche whose holdings increase in value when regulatory pressure disappears.
This is regulatory capture in its purest form. The person responsible for prosecuting crypto crime has a direct financial stake in crypto's success. And success in crypto often means less regulation, less enforcement, and more freedom for bad actors.
Now let's connect this to our second story, because what's happening in Myanmar is the nightmare scenario of what unregulated crypto enables. We're talking about industrial slavery operations that use cryptocurrency to steal billions from victims worldwide. And they operate with impunity partly because enforcement has collapsed.
The numbers are staggering. According to reporting from Fortune, PBS, and multiple international investigations, approximately 120,000 people are currently held in forced labor scam compounds in Myanmar. Another 100,000 are trapped in similar operations in Cambodia. These aren't small-scale operations. This is industrial human trafficking.
The most well-known compound is called KK Park, located along the Thai-Myanmar border. When Myanmar's military raided it recently, approximately 1,500 laborers fled into Thailand. These workers came from 56 different countries. Indian nationals, Chinese, Filipinos, Vietnamese, Ethiopians, Kenyans. This is a global trafficking network.
Here's how it works. Victims are lured with promises of legitimate jobs. A Chinese actor was promised an acting job in Thailand. Others are offered positions in customer service or tech support. When they arrive, their passports are immediately confiscated. They're locked in compounds and forced to work 12 to 16-hour shifts running financial scams.
The scams themselves are sophisticated. Workers pose as state company employees to solicit crude oil futures investments. They create fake romantic relationships, building trust over months before asking for money. They set up fraudulent cryptocurrency trading platforms that look legitimate. And they run task scams where victims are paid small amounts initially to build credibility before being asked for larger investments.
The scale of theft is massive. Americans alone lost at least $10 billion to these Southeast Asian scam operations in 2024. Individual victims have lost up to $400,000 in cryptocurrency to a single scam. These aren't petty crimes. This is systematic wealth extraction.
And the workers who refuse to participate or don't meet quotas? They're beaten. Fortune's reporting includes testimonies from escaped workers who describe physical punishments for anyone who doesn't perform. Only senior managers have freedom of movement. Everyone else is a prisoner.
These compounds evolved from the online and physical casinos that proliferated across Southeast Asia over the past decade. By 2021, there were more than 340 licensed and unlicensed casinos in the region. When governments started cracking down on gambling, the operations pivoted to cybercrime. Same buildings, same criminal networks, new business model.
And this is where cryptocurrency becomes essential to the operation. You cannot steal $10 billion and move it through traditional banking systems without being detected immediately. Banks have know your customer requirements, anti-money laundering protocols, and transaction monitoring. Cryptocurrency allows these operations to move massive amounts of money across borders instantly with minimal oversight.
The criminal organizations running these operations are known as the Four Families: the Bays, the Lius, the Weiss, and the Mings. These are mafia-like syndicates that built and operated more than 100 industrial parks in northern Myanmar. Members hold prominent positions in local government and militias aligned with Myanmar's ruling junta.
In 2025, Chinese authorities finally started serious prosecutions. 11 members of the Ming crime family were sentenced to death by the Wenzhou Intermediate People's Court. 5 members of the Bai crime group, including the leader Bai Suocheng and his son, also received death sentences. The Wei clan leaders are facing charges for telecom fraud, intentional homicide, and extortion.
Myanmar authorities claim they've repatriated over 70,000 foreign nationals who were forced to work in these scam centers over the past 2 years. But experts estimate the total number of trafficked workers is still over 200,000. And the crackdown only accelerated after a Chinese actor was trafficked and his girlfriend's viral social media campaign forced Beijing to act.
Here's the connection that should terrify you. The global scam industry centered in Southeast Asia is now estimated to be worth between $50 and $70 billion. That's larger than the GDP of many nations. And according to experts cited by multiple sources, this industry is rapidly expanding through illicit online marketplaces, adopting cryptocurrency, and investing in cutting-edge AI technology to move money faster and make scams more effective.
Last year, US and UK authorities indicted Cambodian Chinese tycoon Chen Ji, who allegedly ran one of the largest transnational criminal organizations in Asia. When they seized his assets, they found $15 billion in cryptocurrency. $15 billion. That's the scale of wealth these operations generate.
So let's connect these dots. At the top, you have the Deputy Attorney General of the United States dismantling crypto enforcement while personally profiting from crypto's rise. At the bottom, you have slavery operations stealing billions through crypto fraud. And in the middle, a massive regulatory gap that allows this entire ecosystem to flourish.
This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is how systems of power actually work. When enforcement disappears, crime becomes industrialized. When officials profit from the industries they're supposed to regulate, regulation stops happening. And when cryptocurrency operates without meaningful oversight, it becomes the perfect vehicle for every form of financial crime imaginable.
The victims are on both ends. There are the people locked in compounds, beaten, and forced to commit fraud 12 hours a day. And there are the Americans, Europeans, and others worldwide who lose their life savings to fake investment schemes. Meanwhile, the criminals in Myanmar get rich, the crypto market grows, and officials like Todd Blanche see their portfolios increase.
What makes this especially insidious is the legal gray zone everyone operates in. Blanche claims his actions were cleared in advance. The DOJ refuses to say by whom. The four families in Myanmar held government positions, making them technically legitimate authorities. The cryptocurrency platforms claim they're just technology, not financial institutions, so different rules should apply.
But legal gray zones only exist for the powerful. The trafficked workers in Myanmar aren't in a gray zone. They're in literal cages. The victims who lose their savings aren't in a gray zone. They're bankrupt. The only people who benefit from ambiguity are the ones with power.
And here's what should make everyone angry. These systems are working exactly as designed. Todd Blanche isn't some rogue operator. He was confirmed by the Senate. His ethics agreement had a built-in delay that allowed him to make policy while still holding assets. The system permitted this.
Similarly, the scam compounds in Myanmar didn't appear overnight. They evolved from casinos that governments knew about. The four families operated openly for years. They built over 100 industrial parks. You don't do that in secret. Authorities knew, and they only acted when public pressure became impossible to ignore.
This is the real story of modern finance. Not the innovation narrative that cryptocurrency advocates sell. Not the promise of decentralization and freedom from government control. The real story is that crypto has become the infrastructure for industrial-scale theft, operated by criminal syndicates using slave labor, enabled by officials who profit from the same assets they're supposed to regulate.
And the worst part? This is just what we know about. ProPublica had to file records requests to uncover Blanche's holdings. The Myanmar operations only came to light because workers escaped and told their stories. How many other officials are making policy that enriches them? How many other scam operations are running right now?
The Campaign Legal Center's complaint against Blanche is important, but it's not enough. We need structural change. Officials shouldn't be allowed to own assets in industries they regulate, period. Not with divestment timelines, not with blind trusts, not with ethics agreements. If you want to regulate crypto, you cannot own crypto. It's that simple.
And on the enforcement side, we need to stop treating cryptocurrency as some special category that deserves lighter oversight. If it's being used to commit fraud, it's a crime. If it's being used to launder money, it's a crime. The technology doesn't matter. The harm is real, and it needs to be prosecuted with the full force of law.
The international community also needs to treat these scam operations as what they are, slavery and organized crime. Not just fraud. Not just immigration issues. These are crimes against humanity happening on an industrial scale, and they require a coordinated global response with real consequences.
Because right now, the incentives are completely backwards. Officials get rich by weakening enforcement. Criminals get rich by exploiting legal gaps. And the only people who face consequences are the victims, the workers trapped in compounds and the people who lose everything to scams.
We've reached out to Deputy Attorney General Blanche's office for comment beyond the DOJ's official statement. We've also contacted several cryptocurrency industry groups to ask whether they believe regulation is necessary. As of this broadcast, we have not received responses. We'll update our reporting as we learn more.
This is the financial system we've built. One where slavery and corruption operate in plain sight, where officials profit from the crimes they're supposed to prevent, and where billions flow from victims to criminals with barely any friction. It's not broken. It's working exactly as the powerful designed it to work.
The question is whether we're going to accept that. Whether we're going to demand that officials like Todd Blanche face real consequences. Whether we're going to insist that cryptocurrency be regulated like any other financial instrument. Whether we're going to treat human trafficking in Myanmar as the humanitarian crisis it is.
These aren't rhetorical questions. They require action. Contact your representatives. Demand investigations into conflicts of interest at the Justice Department. Support organizations working to free trafficked workers. And if you're investing in cryptocurrency, understand that you're participating in an ecosystem that currently enables massive harm.
The truth is uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Finance fraud isn't some distant problem happening to other people. It's the foundation of how power operates in the 21st century. From the Deputy Attorney General's crypto portfolio to the slavery compounds of Myanmar, it's all connected. And until we confront that connection, the pattern will continue.
I'm Alex Truth.
I'm Maya Clarity. Thanks for watching Truth Report. Stay vigilant, demand accountability, and we'll see you next time.